Good morning, everybody. Now, today is kind of a special day. It's Friday, but it's not just any Friday, it's the last Friday of the school year. Because next week we don't have school on Friday. In fact, it's a 3-day weekend, so we don't have school on Monday. We just have a Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Thursday left. That's pretty crazy. Now, we've been learning about coding just to kind of help keep us thinking kind of in a math kind of way. And so we're going to keep looking at coding. This lesson's a little bit challenging. Luckily, they've not left us completely alone because there are some concepts that we haven't learned yet. And we'll talk about those a little bit. You're going to learn about them in 4th grade. But it's kind of a nice introduction, and they set it up so that we're able to do it without necessarily knowing that particular skill. And that skill is all about angles, degrees, and how we measure how wide an angle is, if it's a small angle or if it's a really big angle. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and present what we're looking at today. We're going to be doing some more work with actually, let me see something really fast. This one. There we go. Now, we're going to be drawing shapes. And what we have is this little artist. And he is going to be moving around on the piece of paper, drawing pictures. And we need to tell him what to do. And again, he will do exactly what we tell him to do. And so we need to be careful with how, like, the directions that we give him. And so you'll see here, when I start out, it says set width to 20. So that's pixels. The pixel is just kind of like a little tiny square, because computers, they draw in little squares. And so the width is 20 pixels, and that's this width here. We could change that, but we're just going to leave it so that it matches the puzzle. If I tell him to move forward 200 pixels, and I tell him to run forward, and the default color is black. So that line looks good, but we need to draw a whole star. When we look at the star, we're going to ask ourselves a few questions. Now, we might be tempted to ask ourselves, well, how many sides does a star have? And a star has 10 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But this particular star that we're drawing, we're making a line that goes through the middle of the star. In fact, we're making 5 lines that go through the middle of the star. And they connect to the sides. And so we only need to draw half as many sides. So we can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines will get us back to the start, and it'll draw this particular star. And so we're going to have to give it some code. And I could put in each line of code by saying, well, I want you to move forward, and then I want you to turn, and then I want you to move forward, and I want you to turn, I want you to move forward. And it's just repetitive, but we learned about loops. And so I'm going to have it repeat these directions multiple times. And we said that we needed to do it 5 times because there was 5 lines on this star. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this set of directions, we're going to have it do 5 times. We could include the set the width in there, but we're not changing it, and so we might as well leave it outside of the loop. It's already set before we go into the loop. Now, one thing, let's start with just making the shape. So I want it to move forward 200 pixels, but that's not all I want it to do, because he's just going to keep going in a straight line. Oh, there he goes. He ran away. He didn't turn because he's doing exactly what I tell him to do. And so we need to figure out which way does he turn. So we had to put ourselves in the artist's shoes. He's going to go and he's going to end up here. And then do we want him to turn right or left? So if I put myself in his shoes, he turns left, he's going to go this way. He turns right, he's going to go this way. It looks like my line continues going right. So I'm going to tell him to turn right 144 degrees. Now they've already set up this amount that he's turning, 144 degrees. And kind of the question is, what does that even mean he's turning 144 degrees? Well, we haven't learned about that yet. We learned a little bit about angles. We learned about right angles. And we talked about how that's like the corner of the room. So a right angle is like the corner of a square. And so it's about this much. And that, if you were to measure it, they measure it in degrees, and that's 90 degrees. And so as we're opening up, let's say these are two lines, and we're opening it up, it's going to slowly add degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, until we get up to 90 degrees. And then we're going to keep on going. Okay? And I can't do it with my hands, but it's going to keep opening up, and it's going to eventually come around. This is 180 degrees. It's going to make it look like one big line because it's completely open. I wish I had something to show it, like a hinge. And then it's going to start coming back around. So it's turning more than 180 degrees, potentially. And if you get all the way back to where you start, it's 360 degrees. And you might have heard that before. You might have seen 360 because that's a complete circle. It's going all the way around. So if I'm saying that he's turning right and he's turning 140 degrees, then I can kind of picture he's going to turn right and he's going to turn more than 90 degrees. And we're going to have him do this 5 times. And remember, they already set up the degrees. We just have to turn them the right way. So let's go ahead and run this. He turns. It looks like we've got our star. Okay. Now there's some things I can do with this. Let me show you what happens. Oh, it went on to the next one. There's some things that I can do with this to kind of make it my own. First, let me show you what happens if we had them turn left, just because I'm curious. Turns left. It looks like he's still going to draw a star, but it's not going to be in the right place. So we're going to change it so that he's turning right. But something else you can do with it that makes it kind of fun is you can have him, you can change the pattern of the line. So there's some fun patterns in there. You can also have it set the color to a random color. I'm going to put that at the beginning of my steps. So every time he goes, he's going to do a random color. There he goes. He chose green a couple times. Oh, he's choosing green. Oh, there we go. Mix them up. It's random, so he's just going to keep doing what he's doing. So I can set the pattern. I can have him do, let's do an emoji line. You see, it looks like when it sets the color, it doesn't do the pattern. So let's try it over again and take out this. Oh. Now let's try it. There we go. Now he's drawing an emoji star. Pretty cool. Okay. I'm going to take out the pattern. Now, one thing that I've seen some students do that's kind of fun, we're going to go back to a random color. We're going to change this code a little bit. We're going to have him do this 50 times, maybe. But the very, very last, no, let's have him do that 5 times. I changed my mind. I'm gonna do something just a little bit silly, a little bit fun. I'm gonna put a loop inside of a loop. So he's gonna be drawing a star, but when the first loop finishes, I'm going to have it turn to the right by, oh look, they have a little thing on here that shows you the degrees. So, oh, let me do it completely. So you can kind of tell it how much it turns. I'm going to type in, let's have it turn 15 degrees. So it's going to turn right 15 degrees after it draws each time. And we'll have it repeat this 5 times. And let's see what happens. So just so you know, we have a loop inside of a loop. So it's going to be drawing a star. But then when it finishes drawing the star, it's going to turn a little bit and then draw its next star. And it's going to do that 5 times. We're going to speed it up because that takes a while to do several loops like that. Okay, here we go. So he's drawing his lines, and then he turns a little bit. Interesting. Okay, so now I've made kind of a crazy little star here. Now, I think the very last one, I don't know if it's on this lesson, you can just kind of play around with them. But let's change our degrees just because I'm having some fun with this. And let's change it so that he turns 60 degrees. And let's have him repeat that 6 times. All right, here we go. He's just drawn a bunch of stars. They're kind of off of our picture, but you can see the code. And we've made kind of a crazy looking shape doing this. I wonder what it would be like if we just had it all the same color. Let's pull this out. Put this back in. So now it's just going to be black. And we'll have them go really fast. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can kind of see the pattern a little bit. So you can make some really interesting designs doing that. In fact, it looks like I'm making snowflakes when I do that. This is an unused code, so I can just throw it away. But anyway, you're just practicing. It starts you off so much simpler than that. There's a video that explains a little bit more about it. But look, on this one, it's just there's an artist, and you just have to get him to move. And when the artist moves, he always draws. And so I'm curious. What happens if he draws a sticker? Let's have him do it right here. And I want this. I like this penguin. All right, let's see what he does. Okay, well, he put a penguin down. Interesting. Just try to have some fun with it. This is just, some extra math practice. There's a lot of math principles in coding. And so we're just trying to have some fun and do a little bit of math in kind of a different way than we normally do. And honestly, I think coding is a lot of fun. I like to have a lot of fun with it. I need to look at it, but I'm hoping that we can get far enough along that we kind of have the basics of coding by the end of the school year. And I'll try to create a level that you guys can play around with, one that I've made using these coding lessons. I miss you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you have a great 3-day weekend. But until then, till Tuesday, I'll miss you guys. Have a great day. Bye.